Okay. Okay.
So, Linda, it is such a joy to have the opportunity to wonder together this morning. I think that our tradition is made richer by the questions that we wonder about together. It is truly my pleasure to get to hear a question from you today and to get to wonder together. Thank you for being here and being a part of this installment of Ask Rabbi Fox. I'm delighted to wonder about a question together this morning, and I'm looking forward to the gift of your invitation to wonder about the question that you have this morning.
I'm honored to be invited to ask a question. I was looking up at the sky the other day, and 2 days ago actually, and I noticed it's no longer a full moon, which means Rosh Hashanah is going to be here before we know it. As you as a rabbi, I'm sure are well aware. I hope I'm not causing you anxiety by bringing this. Hopefully it's excitement.
It's both. It's both.
So prior to coming here to Temple Israel, you were 2 years, I believe, the campus rabbi at Cornell University, and then 5 years in Indianapolis as an associate rabbi. And then we were thrilled to welcome you to Temple Israel. And so thinking a little bit about those experiences, as well as thinking about what you have learned about Temple Israel so far in this COVID environment where you can't really meet any of us in person.
Sure.
I'm thankful that you are the type of person who listens with intention, asks good questions, and really wants to understand and get to know the people with whom you're talking. And so given what you've learned about Temple Israel and given what your experiences have been in the past, I'm wondering how those might inform how you would like to engage and us and create a meaningful High Holy Day service for us with your team, obviously. But what about those experiences have helped you to prepare for the upcoming weeks?
So there's two parts, I think, to the Holy Days. One is that there's two parts to the Holy Days. One is that we know every year that we are going to drift away from the strongest part of ourselves, the most core elements of our individual beings, and that we need to have something that is regular, that is consistent, that will allow us to draw back to that best of ourselves. There's another part of the holidays which needs to, I think, waken us, which is one of the reasons why we blow the shofar, to move ourselves in such a way that we, one commentator remarks that when you blow the shofar, your whole body resonates in that moment. That we need to be awoken to not perhaps the self of the past, but to a being that we might look in the future towards setting ourselves toward. As I've looked to my experiences in the past at Cornell and at the Indianapolis Hebrew congregation, and as I look to my hopes here in Long Beach at Temple Israel, my hopes are that we have the opportunity to connect with that touch point that comes each and every year. That touch point that we know is going to be there and we know that we're going to need, which is that we can come back to a part of ourselves that, by the way, I don't know if anyone can hear, but I have a baby just in the other room. This is a very COVID moment. So if anyone wants to say hi to Adi, now's the time. That we need that moment of reflecting on who have we been, when has our best self been present, and how do we reconnect with that? To that end, my hope for us this year is to be able to, with this incredible team at Temple Israel, provide melodies and the service experience that is very similar to the service experience that we've had in the past, both so that we can offer a moment of memory to those previous times, and that we know that it works. It's a powerful way to remind ourselves of the best people that we can be. That's one of my hopes. But my hope also is that we can awaken ourselves perhaps to a new self, and that in every community that I'm in, there are different needs, and especially this year, there is a need to reflect perhaps outside of who we are. I was just talking to somebody about what things are going to look like after COVID. And I think I've had the conversation of, some people will say, well, it's going to look exactly the same as it did before. We're just going to go back to the way that things were. And I've heard other people say, there's simply no way for us to do that, both because of the health needs that we have, the safety protocols that we need to put in place that are going to make things look different, but also because there's always been a need to live a little bit differently. The level of pollution that we have in our air is lower today than it's been in recent history. The way that we're living by connecting deeply with our families, with our friends, many of us are getting to know our neighbors who we haven't known before. That has brought to the fore a need, new awakenings, new things that we need to awaken ourselves to. And so this year, I think there's also an opportunity to think outside of the box a little bit for the High Holy Days. Excuse me, to think a little bit about what our experience could be that might be different in practice and different in how it inspires us this year. And so my hope is that we also have the opportunity this year to think a little differently, to think about as we look ahead to this coming year, as we quite literally emerge from our homes, how do we want to live differently in our lives? And we're actually hopefully going to provide a lot of those opportunities throughout the day with forums and workshops, different things that engage us in a different mode, a different way than the holiday liturgy, that might allow us to awaken this holiday to a different world that is quite literally the world around us. Linda, what a gift to wonder about this question together. I'm happy to, if you had a follow-up piece to that, I'm happy to address it. I'm also just delighted to get to wonder about it together. Thank you for being here, for asking.
Is there something, as you got to know the congregants at Temple Israel, is there something that has surprised you at all that might inform how you're moving forward in your role as rabbi?
There are many things that have surprised me. And I've been inspired by it. I will say this. This community, I think, possibly more than any other community that I've been a part of, has done a lot of the work that we now all use woke in a different way. A lot of the work that we've learned from our wider American and international community about the role of race in our world, the role of race in our country. Whereas I think there is a lot of work to be done in this community, as with every community. This is a community that, not just with race, with every different piece and color of our community, and I'm using that term very broadly, welcomes and understands that we are all part of the same community. I have not seen the same ins and outs that I worry about and that I have seen in some other communities. I am not addressing the communities directly that I've been a part of in the past. This is a national conversation. But this is a community that seems to understand the depth of welcome, not as an intellectual exercise, not as a task to set ahead. And there are, again, many more things that we can and will do together to make sure that every member of our community is a full and active part of our community. That said, this is a community that I think understands the way that each member has a voice and how to hear all of these voices with the same heart, with the same open ears. And so what has surprised me in the very best of ways about this community is the way that every single member of this community has a voice within it, and how we sit together as a community of all different walks of life, of all different colors, of all different ages, of all different ways of coming to Judaism, and that we all have an equal voice. Linda, thank you for joining me today. I think that I may have lost you. And so I want to thank you if you are still here, and if you have to hear this on the recording, again, I want you to hear my deep gratitude for joining on, for asking this question today. It's been a real gift to get to know the Temple Israel community and to feel that welcome in and among all the members within it.